Hope that makes the blooper reel.
Anything you want to tell me before we get started?
Yeah, just I've been here. Martial arts before that. That's old news to me. Got huge comic book nerd. Huge. I just got back from a convention in Indianapolis Saturday, and spent the fuck out of some money. Oh, I'll try not to curse, by the way.
You can cuss. It's your podcast right here on.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to Prayer Marketing Podcast. I have Silas of Irish Pub, the Paddy Wagon. I always call it the Irish Pub. Some people call it the Paddy Wagon.
Patty, we get patties sometimes, but I get on to people because we're not always sunny in Philadelphia. So I'll yell at people. It's Paddy Wagon. But yeah, Irish Pub. We are the best Irish pub in town because we're the only Irish pub in town.
Right? That's the way to take some of the market share right there. To be the only one there. And he won't say this on the podcast, but before the podcast, he said he did some rocketeering, and that's how he got rid of the Irish. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. So you were telling me earlier how the Irish pub got started, and when you joined in. Okay, so what I want to ask you, we're going to do a little reverse history. We're going to start from whenever you came on here and how it got started, and then we're going to reverse into your life and get into your deep, dark secrets.
Oh goodness, this is like free therapy.
Right.
It's tremendous. When I started here, this would have been circa 2008 or so. I was dating a bartender that worked here, and I was waiting for her to get off work one night. I was a big nerd. I was reading a book, waiting for her to get off work, and ended up one of the former owners had to work a door shift, and it was chilly. And anyway, kind of got myself into. I was like, man, I can help you out if you need help on the door. You know, nobody wants to sit out in the cold and the rain, especially if you own the place. So, kind of started as a bouncer here. And then Cinderella story, about a year later, I went to bar backing, which if you don't know what that is, it's essentially you just help the bartenders cleaning dishes, stocking beer, just doing all the grunt work.
Right.
A little bit of time after that, went to bartending. Thankfully, one of the bartenders, Ben Ramsey, he was like, yeah, you earned it. Like, we'll give you a shot. Started out with one bartending shift a week. And I would still work 5 or 6. I just text people. I mean, it's so easy. I just text them and be like, you guys went off tonight? I'll work. They'd always say no. Then about 6 o'clock would hit, about 2 hours before our shift starts. They'd be like, well, I guess I can. I could go out and drink tonight. Yeah, you take my shift.
Right.
And from then on, it was Greg was kind of phasing out a little bit, and Chuck was still here, my current business partner. And I explained to him, I was like, hey, I've not on this grand of a scale, but I owned a martial arts studio before. And I know a little bit of counting, numbers, business savvy, sense, how to talk, whatever. So if you need help, like for me to manage or close the bar, count money so you don't have to be here every night, turned into that. And then a few years after that, they're having a good time.
Yeah, they are.
Some exchanges happened, and I ended up buying out Greg Farrell. And so now for about 7 or 8 years now, it's been me and Charles Fields. I think the second part of your question is to go back. This bar, if you've never been here, it's beautiful, but it is not functional. It's gorgeous, but it's not practical.
This is my first time in here.
In a typical bar, you want what's called a pivot bar, where it's like you got all your shit right here, and you can just pivot, make your drink, and go. Boom, next, boom, next. This is a horseshoe bar, so I've got to walk all the way over there to get one thing, all the back here, then over there, then over here, and then finally get it back to the customer. And it's like, so it's not practical, but it is gorgeous.
Right.
Well, I say that because this is the story. Greg and Chuck were in Ireland. I don't think it was university related. It could have been. Let's say it was leisure. Doesn't matter. But everybody gets the idea. Everybody thinks we should start a bar. We should own a bar. That's cool. Side note. All my friends, like from high school, they've seen all the work it takes for me to do what I do here and all the hours. Right. None of my friends say that around me anymore. It's not like, get drunk and like, we start a bar, we can totally do it. I'm like, you know how much just straws cost? Well, just straws a month. But
well, how much do straws cost? You got to tell us.
We go through probably about 4,000 at least a month, and those come in cases, I think 100 packs of 12s. I believe those cases run about post-COVID prices, we're looking at almost $200 a box. So that's 4 to 6 depending. So right now, just out the gate, just on straws, before you even talk about napkins, coasters, the product, the beer, the glassware that gets broken, the strainers, the payroll, the kitchen. I could go on. This could be an entire podcast of itself. We were talking $1,200 just in straws, disposable straws that you're going to throw everyone on the floor or in the trash. It's going to end up in the dumpster at the end of the day. But before I lose my train of thought. So anyway, they were in Ireland, wanted to start a bar. Yeah. So apparently the rumor mill is they started it on Water Street was the first location. Very small, very just kind of your rough neighborhood local dive, if you will.
Right.
It got a little bit too big for them, so they moved to a second location, which is right next door to us. We just turned that into a volleyball lot last year. We got the finest sand from the eastern coastal beach. We really do. But it was vacant for about 10 years. So that one burned down, I believe, late 2005. The first one was 2004. They moved there. That one burned down not long after. This one was, they got it going up, I believe, 2007. I mean, Chuck's going to watch this and be like, this son of a bitch doesn't know anything. But whenever they got it. So anyway, I'm going back to this impractical. There's a point here, people. The bar is beautiful, but what they did was they took a little cocktail napkin, just a little tiny thing, and just, no, they're not architects. They're not engineers. I mean, they're brilliant people, but they were like, what would look cool? And they drew this, like, what if it was like all the beers in the middle, the bar's on the outside, we got tables on the outside. There's not really a dance floor, but a huge bar. And so the greatest bane of my existence, this bar came from a fucking cocktail napkin that they drew and probably 12 seconds I thought into. Greg, I do love you. Chuck, you as well. But that's a fun little anecdote there.
Yeah.
So when I started, there's the brief history of the pub. What's next?
Well, what's next is I do have a side note. This is the second time in a row a napkin's been brought up on the podcast. The first one, he was talking about how a artist makes their craft, and I think he said he brought up Leonardo had this quote. Well, it's not really a quote. It's more like a scenario where a woman in this bar walked up to him and asked him if he could draw something for her. So he took the napkin out, drew something for her in like 12 minutes, gave it to her and said, you owe me like $60,000 or something like that. And she got mad because he says, like, it only took you 12 minutes. And he was basically saying, you're paying for all the years I've worked to make this craft instead of the amount of time it took me in that moment. So.
Oh, that is interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yeah. No problem. I don't know why I did, but the napkin thing made me think about it. So, martial arts took you here, right?
And a long story short, you could say I wouldn't have started here without having. I mean, it's all gone now for the most part, but a little bit of how can I make this sound lofty? Battle prowess, we'll say. No, but that's what led me here. That was definitely 90% of it. Again, I was going to college at the time, and Chuck, being the professor that he is, I think he liked seeing that in me. But as far as Paddy Wagon goes, he knows these numbers and keeps them close to home, but we've worked religiously around schedules. We've had probably 50 people graduate from the university while working here.
Wow.
A lot of them even currently graduated and still work here while they're looking for their other jobs. So I think him seeing, I was being educated. I wasn't just a grunt or muscle or whatever. I was a decent head on my shoulders. I've learned a lot from Chuck over the years. But that definitely played a part in with Chuck being the academic that he is, and he's going to kill me. He's going to watch this, and I'm going to get so many texts as he's watching this, like, you fucking said that, really? He is generally, at least in my opinion, and a lot of people will agree, usually the smartest man in the room, if not, top 5. So, again, all that played into a part. So martial arts, we'll say that led me here, amongst other things, just like any decision or anything impactful. There's other minutia that lead into it. But we'll say, just for the sake of this cast, and I'm sure you have a follow-up question, so I'll shut up. Martial arts, yes,
I have 1,000 questions, of course, because it's such a all these paths I hear. Because me, I'm 23, so growing up, it's like, so you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and it's going to lead you here, right? Straight line. It never happens that way, and I keep having weird guests on where martial arts, and now they're a bartender and an owner in Paddy Wagon, stuff like that.
I have so many conversations with friends, fiance, whoever's around me about what decision led you here. So like just going back and not to get tearful or woeful here, but like I've only been in Kentucky for about 23 years now. I grew up in Indiana. If I hadn't left Indiana, I probably would have never found that martial arts studio. I would have never met the mother of my daughter. I would have never been here. And it's curious how there's no people think in static lines. Not to get we're getting philosophical now.
Right.
Not to think statically, but that's what did lead you here, and what small decision, like a relatively small decision to move with my family to Kentucky. That's kind of big, kind of small, but that has led this whole path open to me. So choosing to do martial arts has led me here. Like you said, ending up at a bartender or as a bartender, bar owner, whatever. I went to school for Homeland Security.
Right.
Way off. But if that answers your question at all or premise, that's what I got for you.
So what'd you go to school for Homeland Security for?
I'd always take those aptitude tests in like middle school, high school. I always had they always said I'd be a good like police officer or maybe a detective, kind of a quizzical mind, like problem solving. So that was always my end goal, and I didn't want to go for police studies because that's just so generic. I was a history major for a little bit, and it was right around I started college, I guess, right when Katrina happened, 2005. That was when Homeland Security, of course, this is right after 9/11 as well, so they're getting this program in place.
Right.
And I believe it was 2005 or 2006. That's when I switched to Homeland Security because it was just being implemented, and that was all the certifications, it was a new program too, so it's fresh on the field. It's not, all the professors were new. They're learning this and teaching it as they go. So it's not the Chuck. This isn't towards you either. It's not the entrenched professors that have been doing the same drone for 30 years on this topic, just until they get to retire or whatever. It's fresh, and it was exciting classes, and there was a lot of hands-on stuff for it as well. But anyway, started here, and when I realized I'd been here about 6 or 7 years. And I was approaching 30, and it was time to, was this going to be a career for me, or am I looking for something else? And I decided, thankfully and gladly, I had the people around me to support me while I was doing that or making that decision. I decided to turn this into a career. It's a lot of long hours. I do, as much as I bitch and complain about it, and it's the service industry. Everybody's got the moans and groans, but it really is. It's a great job. Early mornings suck when I got to do stuff, or like even for leisure, like I got to get on a plane at 8 a.m. Oh my God, because usually I'm going to bed at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But depending on if I got my daughter the next day or whatever. But circadian rhythm, that's definitely
it's
a
destroyed.
thing.
It's over.
But other than that, I really got nothing to complain about. I love late nights. I get home, I got time to myself. The rest of the world's asleep, so I can hop on. I can play Fortnite, play comic books, read comic books, play my Oculus. The world is quiet, and it's my time. After the chaos of a Saturday night, and you just got done dealing with 3 people puking, a fight over here, and unspeakable things I can't say here that we find going on in the bathroom sometimes. There's that.
Oh man, you're a gamer, huh?
I through and through.
Oh.
As soon as we leave here, I am putting my Oculus on. After I'm done with that, going straight to Fortnite, and we'll see. How depends on how many 12-year-olds I'm taking out tonight. If it's good or bad, we'll see how long that goes. But go ahead, please.
You've opened up a can of worms now, man. Because I'm a gamer.
Talk
my
dirty.
Free time, I get about 2 hours of gaming now. Adult life. That's just how it is. But what are you into? You into shooters? I know Fortnite's not my speed. First time I got on, I was in college. Shot at a guy. He built the fort in seconds, and I was out. After that. I was like, this isn't Call of Duty.
I've never been a rage gamer, thankfully. Never, broke TVs or controllers. But Fortnite, the learning curve is very, very steep on that. So with as many hours as I've always used this analogy. Like I play guitar for about 20 years now, almost. I should be way better than I am, way better, but I'm not. So Fortnite, I'm definitely better than what I was. But that's another steep learning curve. It's like. I'm good enough to enjoy myself talking to my friends, but that is another aspect of if I'm doing any sort of segue into bartending at all. It's you're on stage all the time. People are watching you behind the bar. Not they're just because they're waiting for their drink. How are you making it? What are you doing? So if you trip and fall, bust ass, people are going to laugh at you. But I can go home at night and put my headphones on and either play in solitude or I can play with some of my friends or online friends, because there is definitely any service, any bartender, any server, waitress, hostess, almost any kitchen crew, anybody in the service industry will agree to this, that you're around people all the time.
All the time.
So it's nice to go home and just click that off. I mean, even if I'm reading comic books or whatever, but as far as gaming goes, and it's also a little cathartic nature of just kicking the shit out of some, just like random 12-year-olds that are cussing in your mic and all your headphones the whole time. There is a little solitude and peace and the world's okay. Now I'm all right.
I was that 12-year-old, man.
But yeah, I grew up on. I'll tell a quick story. So shooters, to answer your question, this is something. It could be. Who cares about this shit? But yeah, I do. So just
they
stay
all
tuned.
care. They
stay
better
tuned.
care.
I have my martial arts studio, full circle here. So I had a nice layout. It was all mirrored, and it was my space. So I'm dating myself here. This is back in the day when you had pack your desktop around with you wherever you went. So me and all my high school buddies, there's about 8 of us or so, and we were playing Counter-Strike. I think it was CS:GO or maybe 1.5 or 1.7, whatever it was.
That's OG right here.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I'm dating myself. But anyway, so we had a LAN party, old school LAN party. Like you got to hook your table. You're in the same building. It's like this is before this is like back in the days of dial-up almost still. So anyway. We're doing 4-on-4. We're all big gamers on Counter-Strike, and I was on. This is the best I'll ever play in my life, and I know they remember it, but I brought it up recently, I think to Jake or somebody relatively recently, and they're like, "No, it didn't go down like that." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I did." Yeah. Anyway, 4-on-4, and like I was just murdering. So we went to 5-on-3, then we went to 6-on-2, and I was like. They're like, this is like, what are you doing? Like, this is before Adderall too. I definitely wasn't doing cocaine or anything. They're like, I'm just on one, guys. So we went to 7-on-1, the whole team, the whole squad against me. I'm just fired up because I'm just kicking ass. But yeah, I ended up winning this match. It was a tough match, but I had to pull my. For some reason, I started shouting Southpaw when I pulled out my pistol. Like, oh, Southpaw, tick, tick, tick. But I think over the years they've chosen to remember that differently. But that's probably the best highlight of gaming. I will never be that good again, and I've accepted that. That's okay because that was phenomenal. And you shine bright once. At least I got that much going for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, shooters, strategy games, even board games. But yeah, anything. My Oculus. I think if the world doesn't have one of those, get one. Get one. Putt sounds stupid. But I've been playing the shit out of that game. Yeah. I got a tea time tonight, like I said, after we're done here with some guys just to play virtual golf. I'm 35 years old. I'm getting excited about virtual golf.
And that's our company at Fuji is where I'm working at, outside of the career marketing. They bought a golf simulator at the office, $60,000. Those guys play golf all the time. Man, the golf simulators they're up there, man, as a pastime.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my buddy Mike, who got me onto Golf Plus just last week. He's one of the guys I have a tea time with tonight. So, Mike, this will be dated by then, but hopefully next week when you're watching this, we'll also have a tea time after you watch this. So, anyway, carry on.
Oh, man. Shoot. You made me forget what I was going to say. There was a strategy game I wanted to bring up. What strategy games are you into? Maybe it'll bring you back.
So, again, dating myself, I started on, before World of Warcraft, I was playing Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2, like the old style on PC, just
like that.
And StarCraft was my strategy game. Age of Empires for a little bit. I haven't played too many recently because I'm mostly on my PlayStation. I still got a gaming console, but that's more strategy. You got to be all mouse and keyboard all over the place with that. But those. It's been a while since I've really played any strategy games, but Warcraft and StarCraft 2, I got into that a little bit. Those are anything Blizzard touches, I'm going to buy it. Yeah. So I'm still playing Diablo 2. They just remastered it about, 6-8 months ago. I bought that. I'm like, how great is this game that I've played this for 18 hours a day when I was 13, and now I'm, 35 years old and I'm cramming as much time as I can. This game's got playability. So anything Blizzard, there you go, Blizzard. There's your shout out. So
Diablo 3 is my first Diablo.
That's brilliant. Diablo, they're all good. We sit here and talk about this for the next hour. So we'll just leave it at that. They're all good. They're great. They're brilliant.
You watch anime? You seem like an anime watcher.
I'm kind of lame on that. So I have watched some anime. I've read some manga, whatever it's called. I got So, but really, it goes back to Dragon Ball Z for me, which doesn't really count. So, and listen to me here. Just 4 weeks ago, I just took that wristband off. I was at the Lexington Comic Con, and I got to meet Sean Schimmel, who's the American voice actor for Goku. And just last Friday, I was in Indianapolis, and Chris Sabat was there, who is the guy that does Vegeta. I got pictures on my phone. I got signatures. They signed my DVD. They're like, "You got DVDs?" I'm like, "Man, I've watched these DVDs several times too." It's like I didn't just buy this like for a gimmick. Yeah, these are my DVDs. Like, damn, like not Blu-rays, not posters or whatever. It's like my DVDs that I've had for 15 years. Please sign these.
I've been saving this for this exact moment, man.
But yeah, so anime. Again, everybody says Dragon Ball Z doesn't count. It really doesn't. It does. It doesn't. But I did just very recently get to meet those two voice actors, and one of I can't remember her name. The one that did Bulma was there. I didn't have time to get her signature, but yeah, I saw her. I was breathing the same air she was.
Right, yeah, that counts. Definitely counts. I brought that up because there's an anime called Sword Art Online, and since you like the virtual stuff, basically Sword Art Online's premise is you hook up to a machine and they upload your mind into the game.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I've been waiting on. I don't know. I'll probably be 45 before I get virtual reality. But how do you feel about that? It's because you like the Oculus, which, take it off whenever you want. But upload your mind into the game, actually have your body in there. Is that something
So not only did I read Ready Player One, but I also read the follow-up, Ready Player Two, which is very similar to that premise. I've been saying, Oculus is one of the steps. We're a few steps away, pardon me, of that full immersive experience, which I think can be a little dangerous, especially in my industry. I don't want you to get that bartender social experience at your house. I want you to come here, have a good time, spend a little money, and I don't want to be flushed out of that. I don't think human nature will allow us. I mean, we all saw during lockdown just what that did to everybody's mental health and psyche. Having to be home. We were closed down for at least 3 months, and that took a toll. So I think human nature is to be around others and in close proximity and have that, just that not even the touch, but just the physical. I can see you with my own eyeballs. You're right here in front of me. I know you're here. But I look forward to the next step. Uploading my mind to something. I don't. Sometimes I don't even trust my mind to my own head. I don't trust it somewhere else, or somebody else having access to it. Yeah. But I could. So I'm just reading a book. It's called We Are Legion, and it's kind of got that same premise. They take a whole human psyche and upload it to these servers, drivers, put them on these starships and ship them out, and they replicate. Very similar to that, and in that simulation, because he's not a human, whatever, he can do whatever he wants. He can make his office a beach. It can be in outer space. It can be a western. He can play putt-putt. When he can simulate a coffee. In the book, I thought it was so pretty cool that he's a computer, but he can activate whether or not he wants to have a drink and feel like a buzz, catch a buzz. I think it was in the book Good Omens, where it's like a demon and an angel, they're buddies, whatever. But there's one part in the book where they're drinking and they're just hammered, and because the angelic nature of what they are, they're just like, okay, and we're sober. Like, that would be awesome. Yeah. Oh my God.
So no one would ever leave here, man. But
as far as virtual reality goes, I'll keep buying whatever comes out, and I look forward to the next step. And Oculus was a big step in that. There's a lot more way to go, a lot more. Speaking of Ready Player One, that's I hope people take that not just as entertainment, but a mild warning. I mean, I've looked at the past, really going back 60 years of science fiction movies, and there can be you see the warning signs there. It's always AI takes over. We got Terminator 2, right? So. But I'm going to be at the front line and buying whatever the hell they put out, so I can't help myself, and I just love it, man. So it's definitely a culture. I love how I was just talking about these Comic Cons, and I spent the absolute fuck out of some money these past two. Been to a couple, meeting celebrities or whatever. But being a geek, being a nerd, I don't know if it's sexy again, but it's definitely sexy. I don't know if it ever was sexy, but it's cool to be a nerd right now, and I enjoy it, and it's an investment. My comic books collection is getting. I just made a post a few weeks ago to support my buddy Todd at Collectibles, my local comic shop, but I realized I'm using the comics like I've seen something every day you don't appreciate it, but I was like, yeah, man, I'll take a picture and give you a shout out, help the business, since you helped me get all these comics and acquire most of them through you. And I'm taking these pictures and I'm like, holy, half my house is comic books. And I just started this hobby 5 years ago. Jesus, what are you doing? But I love it, and it's I've always said, there's, when like girlfriends or whoever's bitching to me about spending money, I'm like, I'm not doing meth.
Right.
Huh? I'm not doing
Yeah.
heroin. Like I'm collecting comic books. You know where the fuck I'm at? I'm around a bunch of sweaty ass nerds at this Comic Con. I'm not out there chasing tail or anything. Or you can find me, or I'm going to be at home reading comics.
Yeah.
Like you know where I'm at. I'm not out in the world like creating chaos or raising hell. Yeah. It's comics.
Right.
It's harmless.
That's
Worst hobbies to have.
That's the argument I always make to my parents. It's like, hey, you complain all the time, especially about my grades. I'm out here playing video games while all the other kids are out there getting their ass kicked and smoking and stuff.
Running the streets, yeah.
I'm out here chilling, man. Just chilling.
Nowhere to find me.
So that's a good point. Actually, I haven't brought up COVID once in this podcast. Not just this one, any of my other episodes. How was that from, right before it hit till rather recently where the zones for, well, I know you seen we were in the red zone around this area because I live right up the street. So I don't think we're in the red zone anymore, but how was that, from the very start to where it's become more lax now?
So I was tracking it on the news, and all these kids, some of the employees were making fun of me. They're like, the world's not going to shut down. So I really watch the news, but this being my business and the nature of it, like the potential to get shut down or anything happen, I was tracking that from about November of 2019. I actually think me and one of my coworkers, she's no longer here, I think we had COVID before it was a thing, like back in around December. We were both sick as all get out at the same time, but yes, before there was tests, before it was really out in the world, before the world shut down, before it became the nature of what it ended being, the giant nasty monster that it was that did shut down the world. But tracking all that, we were sitting here on March. So St. Patrick's Day, being the Irish pub that we are, that's our Alpha Omega, that's our Christmas, that's our huge day of the year. So we had ordered a bunch of product, probably sitting on about $18,000, $20,000 worth of product, and we were sitting here. We had a meeting with Chuck and two of our managers, and that was March 16th. St. Paddy's Day is March 17th, and we had just made the decision to go ahead and take the high road and shut down like for a week or so. Let's see what the world's doing, because it was chaos. Well, about 9:30 that morning. Speaking of mornings, God, about 9:30 that morning, we made that decision, and Bashir got on the news, and I was about 10:30 or so, and he was going to make that decision for us anyway. He said all bars and restaurants are shut down. So that was, of course, we were able to get some money and help with that because we were shut down, like no options. This is before you could do like the drive-through or the to-goes only or the outside dining. You were just fucked. It's like, sorry, let's lock the doors, go home. So we were able to get some money and some loans to help out with that. We were able to keep all of our staff on, thankfully. That was, patting ourselves on the back. That was a lot of headache. We used some of that time, since we were already around each other and exposed. Of course, we wore masks, but we dolled up inside, did a little renovating, some cleaning. My boy Scott Rogers spearheaded that for us. But that was a scary 3 months. I mean, not knowing, every day you watch the news, and then just like the rest of the world, or some of the world, I guess, maybe most of it, you're sitting there like, is tomorrow going to be different? And, you're fighting depression. Do I even want to go back? I mean, there's a whole mental health aspect that I don't think is going to be resolved really in our lifetime. Just to be honest, from the people that experienced that, because in our lifetime, there really wasn't anything like that till then. And I just wish everybody the best for that. Because I know I'm just a bartender, but I'm thinking a little out of the pocket here, because you do care about people's mental health and physical health, well-being, and because that's what we are. A bartender is. It depends on what kind of day your patrons have, and you're a therapist, you're a counselor, you're a priest, you're a coach, you're a friend. You wear so many hats. Sometimes just a listening ear. That you do care about people and just the nature of it. It's not just, hey, give me your money, here's your Bud Light. You want to care about your people because I want to see you tomorrow. I want your money tomorrow.
Right. I mean, you're not just a bartender, man. I mean, you got to bring a smile to everyone's face. They have somewhere to go with all their friends and family. And COVID took that away from not only, you guys, it took that away from everyone that can leave their house and take their, I would, probably not family, but you probably see some families in here. If they're friends, at least, in here, congregate. And, after work, long day, dealing with some coworkers. Myself have to deal with some coworkers today, and now I'm here at Irish Pub. I don't drink. I'm feeling a little more relaxed, just being in the atmosphere.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hope she doesn't watch this. But
this is just water. It's not vodka.
My first podcast, two people were tipsy on it. It was really funny. My very first one, and it went well though. It went well.
Well, a side note. So Ashley, who's here right now, I was telling her yesterday or whatever when I was talking about this. I was like, yeah, well, I did a little research because we had to be 21 to be in here, so I made sure you were that before. I just creeped a little bit on Facebook. But I was like, man, I don't know if he's a drinker, but because I think like doing it. I watched one of those spicy wings, whatever, hot ones, with Dave Grohl, and the guy Sean or whatever his name is, very professional. But Dave Grohl's on there. He's like, listen, if we're doing these wings, we're doing them my way. So we had this shaker full of alcohol, and like every 10 minutes they were just doing another shot. Yeah. And by the end, the host is like, I love you, man. Like this has been the best. So I was like, if he's a drinker, like I'm gonna be like, okay, you're in my house, we're gonna do it my way. Like okay, like hush. Shot first. By the end, it's just like, we're best friends. I love you.
You don't want that. I'll be in here every other day. Now, I haven't drunk anything since I was 6 years old. So let's see. It's been 19 years ago.
Was that an accident at 6?
Was 17 years ago. My mouth is off. But accident, for me, I guess, any 6-year-old, that's pretty much an accident. But my mom's boyfriend at the time said, hey, Corey, you want to try these Bud Lights? And he gave me a whole pack, which was a pack of 6 at the time. I drank them, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for the rest of that night. For them, not for me, for them.
I was just living your best life.
Yeah, I'm a nightmare drunk. As a kid, though, usually I was really respectful. Never cussed in front of my family or anything like that. I cussed everyone out that day. It was awful.
6 years old.
6-year-old, and I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up with the biggest headache of my life. Never done it again ever since.
That reminds me of a story of my sister telling me. My sister's about 8 years older than me, but this is back in the late 80s, early 90s when you could send your kid with a note to the store to get your pack of cigarettes. Like, Mom said it's okay, give me a pack of cigarettes. Right. There were no rules back then, no laws. But I remember my sister telling me, I believe they were at a bowling alley. And I think Mom was working there. It doesn't matter, but you see like a little shot glass to a kid. That's like a big glass. Like, ooh, it's clear liquid. You think, oh, water. So my sister told me like she reached up and like got this and like you're expecting, especially that result of like you're expecting water quench my thirst and it's totally not. So it's even that 10 times worse. Yeah, she just like did that, and Mom like apparently sees her like right as she's getting it up there and like slow like no, too late. She downs it and just like immediately like banging her head around, just like what is that? It's not water, mommy. But my sister told me that probably 10 years ago. It stuck with me. But it's like no.
That's a great slow mo, by the way. That's a good slow mo. But yeah, I don't have many alcohol stories from just me, but watching other people, I have 1,000 of them. Most of them from my mom. She's a 6'3" lady, big old woman, and kind of expect her to hold her alcohol, but one drink and it's over. Oh, well. It's over. Strawberry daiquiri, not even strong stuff.
Well, that's kind of a good problem to have. Like I said, drink responsibly. We are in the nature of we make money off food and alcohol, but we're also in the nature of we want you to get home safe. We want you to come back tomorrow. So drinking responsibly is certainly, I call alcohol, I heard this a few years back, somebody put it this way, social lubricant. And as long as it stays like that, like have a good time, get a little funny, a little giddy, start meet some new friends. Alcohol has made me meet some of the best friends and family I've ever had. It's been, instrumental in a lot of things in my life just because of the nature of being around it and because of the nature of these four walls that we're in. And alcohol is part of that. People come for the alcohol. But, as long as it's responsible and it's that's as far as it goes, then, nothing wrong with the drink here or there, I dare say. Of course, I'm not required to say that, but to each their own. The people that don't want to drink, and I know several of those, and I do get people that go back and forth with it. But as long as it's friendly and nice, and you don't have to drink to be my friend. I tell some of these people that like, if you don't come here, like we're still buddies. Like we'll still have dinner. Like don't think you got to come here to see me, or we got to meet up, or we have to have a drink to be friends. Don't think that at all. Like we're still buddies without alcohol being involved. So as long as it stays like that. A little harm. There's my alcohol PSA for you.
All right. Well, since you're an old man, I do want to ask you this. No, I'm just joking about the old man joke. I call everyone above 25 old.
Okay.
But so the depiction of bars, to say, has changed the way like they how do I put this? Has changed the way they put out alcohol. So what I mean by that is, from like I'm an old school movie watcher. So like the 80s, 90s, you show these people throwing up, getting thrown out of bars, fighting and stuff, and it's almost encouraged. Till nowadays, like you just said, the bars are encouraging more Ubers, stopping people from drinking too much, making sure there's no violence, no fights, everyone's having a good time. So in your lifetime, have you seen that transition of it's like a no man's land to basically like, hey, it's just a place to have a good time, go home safe, don't drink and drive.
Let's see how I can answer that. So, violence sells, so Hollywood puts that in movies and in our culture, so we see that because, it's so cool to see somebody getting kicked out. Rarely here we get maybe some people puffing out their chest and yelling and maybe trying to throw hands. We're on top of it. We have security. We call them door guys. We don't really use the term bouncer or security just because that incites the nature of, the bouncer, big tough guy. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought you were going to say DoorDasher. I was like, you got DoorDashers
no.
in your bouncing.
So yeah, Hollywood's definitely one thing. And you think about honky tonks back in the day, and your stereotypical backwoods, cowboy hats, and walks into the saloon and whatever, or just like a honky tonk somewhere in the middle of Wyoming or whatever. It's like already everybody looks at the door and like, we don't know you, get your kind out of here, whatever. We've never really had that. We've never our prices and our atmosphere dictate our clientele on who we get. So that's good because you can have, I could do dollar drinks and then I'm going to get a clientele that I don't want. I don't want that kind of I want the people that have a little bit of expendable income, and you pay for what you get. So when you come here, the beer's $5 or $6, but I'm getting my beer in a safe environment. I don't got to wash my back. I know there's people checking IDs. There's not going to be a bust. I can get here, have a good time, get out of here safe, and go home with having a good night. And it's not walking out of some alley and you got to walk 2 blocks to your car and it's like, what's going on? So I can't really answer that because I haven't seen that transition because we've never really fostered that type of environment here. But I get what you're saying, and especially in a post-COVID world, everybody's on edge. And, that speaking of how drinks are served and done, like we were able to do to-go drinks during that little time. It was since in the bucket, but, it helped. But, just the way you serve and the way it's viewed, like, so that what by doing to-go drinks, what they were saying was it's okay to have a drink and it's okay to take it with you. Just
bless you.
Just drink it safely at home too. Just as we would encourage you to drink safely here and not get intoxicated and not drive drunk. Now at home, I would dare say that's even better because you don't go worry about driving anywhere. You can sleep it off, go back to work the next day. Yeah, I think I'm circling around this. I don't know if I really have an answer to that question. Now of course, I'm one example. I could be the outlier. I don't know. I know I have great rapport with all the people around town here. Jason across the street, me and him have a great rapport. Nick down there, Rayla at BBH. And so we all kind of share the same people that we kick out, or we know who the bad news is.
It's a great area.
If you're banned from one bar, usually we'll text each other and be like, yeah, banned, so-and-so. Like, that, sold. That's all.
Right.
I trust your judgment. Enough said. So we don't have that around here. Now, I've traveled a little bit overseas, and I've been to Ireland, I've been to Scotland, I've been up in New York, been to California. The scene is definitely different depending on the demographic that you're at, the size of the town, the nature of whether it's Europe or East Coast, West Coast. So, you don't have that. You'll be walking down the street in San Francisco and you'll just see somebody, just doors coming, and this dude tumbles out, and it's like, wow, okay, let's go to the next bar. How about that one? Let's keep on walking, guys. But yeah, that's about as well as I can answer that question for you, I believe.
So, forgive my ignorance, but what is an Irish pub? What is that? What's the difference between an Irish pub and a normal bar?
That is so many gray areas and ways to answer that question. That's fantastic. So you would assume there's Irish heritage. Of course, this is middle of Kentucky. You can see after going to Ireland and Scotland why a lot of Scots-Irish settled here, because aesthetically it is almost a carbon copy, especially depending on the time of the year,
like
with the sun setting. See, the biggest difference in Kentucky and Ireland is that we have richer soil and deeper soil. That's why we have more trees. The soil is very thin in Ireland. That's why it's mostly just ivy and grass and short vegetation that doesn't need that deep of a root system. So a lot of people around here are Irish, and if you say you're not, you're probably lying. Somewhere along the line you are. I watched a documentary once, and again, documentary, and I'm not a philosopher. Don't take this, the comic section. You'd be like, that motherfucker's wrong. No. You know what I'm talking about. You're out there somewhere. The documentary I watched was to be an Irish pub, especially in Ireland, you have to have the same floor that's always been there. So whether it be cobblestone, whether it be whatever the hell this is that we have here, even if you renovate, to be a traditional Irish pub, you have the same floor. How accurate that is, I don't know. But I watched it on a documentary, and it was on like Netflix, so, I mean, they're pretty reputable. But, yeah, very Euro style, so just as far as the minutia goes, like 16-ounce pints, we don't do the tall beers. That's more of an American thing that you get like B-dubs or Hooters.
Right.
Diverse selection. Of course, you're going to have a lot of whiskey on. There's American bourbon, which we're in Kentucky. We got an extensive collection.
Right.
But you're going to have the Irish whiskeys as well, which a lot of Irish whiskeys, people don't know this, so bourbon's made from a never-used, freshly charred oak cask. Like, first time it's used and it's done. Well, what the Irish do, they're like, we can get this for cheap. So a lot of, like when you're in Scotland and Ireland, we walk in doing the distillery tours, and you'll see Heaven Hill kegs, Buffalo Trace kegs, Woodford Reserve, because that's what they reuse for their Irish whiskey is our already used casks. Right. So they ship them over there, and that's how they make their whiskey. So a lot of similarities. Irish whiskey's a little sweeter. Of course, it's got a different mash bill. But again, I'm digressing here. So a lot of whiskey selection. You want to offer to be a traditional Irish pub in the States. You want to have a good beer selection. You don't want Bud Light, Coors Light, PBR,
right.
and Yingling. You want to have your Guinness, your Smithwick's, your Harp, and try to have some other we call them craft beers, higher end beers, different taste. I don't think any good Irishman or Bavarian would say, put a fruit in my beer, but we do carry those here too. But you don't want to have too many of those. Like, give me that grapefruit Rocky Road or whatever. What's that vanilla one? Pardon my change in tone there. That's about as well as I can answer that question, I believe, too. Is that satisfactory?
No.
Oh, carry on. Okay.
No. I don't know if it's accurate, but absolutely not.
Speaking of that question, I just to Chuck was this comes from Philip Pitcher, a former kitchen employee of mine. So we decorate, for Halloween. Put up, there's a ghost right there that we put up all the decorations. Mardi Gras will decorate for. Derby Day will decorate for. St. Patrick's Day we'll decorate for. So this comes from Philip, not me, but he had told Scott, who told me, and I ended up telling Chuck just because I feel brave the other day. I was like, we're an Irish pub. Shouldn't St. Patrick's Day be the only day we don't have to decorate for, sir? See all the one other thing is all these patches on the wall. They're first responders and police. I don't know the whole story, and I hope somebody in the comments here may be able to enlighten me, because it's just like Googling it. You'll get 10 different answers on Reddit for this. But when I was in Ireland, every place that served any sort of alcohol, whether it be a coffee shop or just a local shop that had like Irish coffee in the back, you can get Irish coffee anywhere there. Yeah. But they would have some patches on the wall. I don't know if that goes back to some kind of clan, like Scottish clan colors on their kilts, or what. I don't really know how that started. But people think we've probably got 5,000 or 6,000 of these patches because of Chuck's nature, where he was criminal justice. So he was able to get them sent from all over the world to him. He's had quite a collection. People think those are up there because of his criminal justice background. No, that's just to be a traditional Irish bar, you're going to have patches of your first responders on the wall. Again, I wish I could explain more than that, but for the people that thought that was because of Chuck's position at the university, no, that's because of an Irish pub. Now, we have way more. We're a bit excessive. I've never seen this many in any pub in Ireland, and I was in a few pubs in Ireland, just a few. But yeah, that's another thing about what makes an Irish pub a little bit Irish. So that's about as far as I can answer that question. I should definitely know that answer better.
I didn't even notice how many there is. There's a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a lot, man. But this is probably the most eventful place in the city. Out of all the research I've done, you guys do more events than the Chamber of Commerce. Why are you guys doing so many events?
Well, that's the nature of staying relevant, staying busy. We do. When I came on board here, that was one of the things I brought to the table. Of course, COVID's messed that up, but our pub crawl, we would organize that and get all the bars downtown involved. Unfortunately, due to COVID and other circumstances, a lot of those bars are gone. But we would, when I came on board, I wanted to do a lot of philanthropy. So we take part of those shirt sales and part of our revenues, and we would pick a different, usually local. We did God's Outreach before. We've done Hope's Wings as a charity. We've done Humane Society, the local chapter. Those are the first three that come to mind, several more. But yeah, we do events for charity. We helped the Daniel Ellis Foundation. Oh, we played, and we won. They're going to hate that I'm bringing this up. For the Daniel Ellis Foundation, when the laser tag place, Richmond Underground, was still up here, we did a Paddy Wagon staff versus RPD, like actual Richmond police officers. Laser tag, we won.
Yeah.
Two out of three. But anyway, we did that as an event, kind of on our own time, but that was for Daniel Ellis Foundation. But we try to do a lot of therapy, and, you need to be a part of these events to be relevant to your community in downtown. We're not just a bar, thankfully, or hopefully. We're a mainstay, a place to go, a watering hole, a community that you can discuss, whether it be politics or who you're voting for, just to get information in your community. So we're going to be a part of that just because it's the nature of the beast. Why would we be in Richmond if we don't want to be a part of Richmond? Right. And, we do quite a few events. We've got a very good location right here downtown. So right on the corner, tremendous parking in the back. But what I like to see is that we're not the only ones. Like I said, we have a great camaraderie with all the other bar owners. So like Rayla and Anthony at BBH, they do a lot of events. They're a little bit more off the beaten path, so they have a following. But they're not on Main Street where they can advertise to all the cars passing every day. But they do a lot of events. Madison Garden throws a lot of weird parties that are off the cut, Christmas in July and all that. Apollo, they do their Hops and Vine Festival that they put on solely it's their thing, and they started that. They were collaborating with Copper Still. The Millstone Festival that they're actually, I think that City Council just voted on that. I don't know the result about being able to have open containers like outside on event days as long as it's roped off. So the Millstone Festival last year was the first experience of that. So we, of course, participated in that because we're on the Strip. But yeah, we enjoy doing events. We do an Oktoberfest, even though that's a German celebration. We do a Burns Supper in January for Robert Burns, even though that's a Scottish poet. We do a hellacious Mardi Gras event, even though argument made that's more of a French Cajun type of holiday. What else? Of course, St. Patrick's Day. But the homecoming, because we are a college town, no matter what we want to say or call ourselves. The school's right behind us, and it's the kids like to party. I think it was back in I've heard, you might have heard this before. I've heard it a million times. It was back in the early 90s when this establishment was still called O'Reilly's. It was an Irish pub. Apparently, Playboy voted EKU. It was in the top 10 party schools in the United States. It was like number 7. Yeah, in the whole United States. It used to be known for parties. And that's back in the day when, of course, you could get in at 18 and up. You just couldn't drink. Bullshit. Right. And Richmond closed at midnight still, not even 1 o'clock like it is now. And people were still coming here just to rage and just party.
Right.
But anyway, I digressed again. So all the events we do, we create a lot of events just because for the nature, like we do, again, philanthropy, we'll do like a beach bash. I've gotten a dunking booth out there before, and my happy ass is set in it. $10 goes to charity. Dunk the owner, dunk the boss, dunk your least favorite bartender, whatever they want to call it. Whatever we can come up with to do, because it's fun for us too. It breaks up the monotony of the weekend or the week or the day. We just had a breakfast for dinner that we put on, just random. We just did breakfast food for dinner. That was like last week, a week or two ago. We got a prom this Saturday, so by the time this airs, it'll already be over. But this is our second time doing it. See all these prom posters we got up hanging out here? Like it's we did it like it's high school. Like we got our pictures and vote for me and rhymes and whatnot on it. And that keeps the community involved. It's more than just like, same old thing. We do live music, different bands every weekend, but rather than the same old thing every weekend, it's like, Paddy Wagon prom. I don't care about that too much, but I'm going to check it out. And if it's fun, next year I'll participate. Yeah. But yeah, so all the events, that's part of the nature. So fun fact, I'm just not bringing this up. So I'm also ordained, so I've done some weddings. I got ordained just to marry my sister to my brother-in-law, and I've ended up doing some weddings here and there. And the last one I did was for an old employee, and they were woefully underprepared. So, but the nature of what I do like I said, it's like being on stage and doing all these events. I am pretty much a glorified event coordinator and party planner, because that wedding, even though I was the one marrying them, to get to that point of those 2 days of planning it, it wouldn't have gotten there without me for the most part. I dare say a lot of other people helped, but I was one. Okay, you're gonna walk here. We're gonna set up. You don't know where you're setting up at. Where's? Oh my God, Grandma, come here. Okay, you're standing right here. Like it was the whole thing, and then I actually married him. But that's you got to have these events just to be relevant, and that's another fun thing We've had 2 people get married here. I only married one set of them, but it's nice to be off the cuff. Like, you got a marriage certificate? I'll marry you right now. Like, come on, stand up, say what you gotta say. Boom, sign it. You're done.
Say what you gotta say.
You thought it was just gonna be another Tuesday night at the pub? Wrong.
Right. Say what you gotta say. Get married. That's funny. I'm going to say that too. As soon as they tell her to say her vibes, like, say what you got to say. Let's get this done.
It's good.
She's going to see this and hit me in the face. Oh, man. It's got me in trouble. Oh, man. So what's next after prom, if you can say?
Oh, see, what we got? Graduation. We were chosen. They reached out to us, the Lexington Harley-Davidson chapter of whatever, the Man of War chapter, I believe, sought us out for May 11th. They're doing their annual bike event here. It's supposed to be 300 or 400 of them coming. Usually they do Lexington, so for them to reach out to Richmond, I think they did BBH before, but for them to reach out to us, that's very humbling to be noticed and called upon. And well, same as you reaching out to us to do what we're doing right now. That was also very humbling. But we got that. We got graduation. Summer slows down a little bit. That's where I start creating holidays. Like, we'll have our beach bash, which I get kiddie pools of sand out there. I'll fill up water balloons, and me and some of the staff will freeze them. Well, not freeze them, but ice them down. Yeah. And we'll get on the roof and just start beaming people on the patio from the roof. We'll get silly string out there, and we encourage beach attire. School starts back. We got our Oktoberfest, which is a big beer holiday. There's so many little events in between all these two that's hard to keep track of. We got Cinco de Mayo coming up, which I'm doing a country board tap takeover for that, because they have a lime. I can't remember the name of it. It's a lime, Mexican flavored style beer.
What stuff you got? I bet you can't.
But tap takeover for that. There's so many small events that I don't even call events anymore, because I can do them kind of like that, and it's not. I'm not. When I first started here, it was like, oh my God, this is event. Like, there's going to be an extra 30 people here. Right. How do I plan for this? It's like that's not even on my radar anymore. Right. Like, I'm playing the events. Like, when you get up to that, there's going to be 300 people here. I'll put a little thought into it. Okay. Other than that, but all these micro events that we do, they're just fun. Like we've done in the past, little black dress parties. There's encourage women to put on that little black dress they haven't worn in forever, and go come out, and they get to feel pretty. And we'll do red light, green light parties around Valentine's Day, where we hand out glow sticks. So that's pretty cool. Everybody loves a glow stick. I'm 35. I'm going to love glow sticks till I die. Right. But put a red one on if you're taken, a green one on if you're single, or a yellow one on if you're maybe wanting to mingle a little bit. Feels like we do 1,000. We've got something every weekend going on. It's the next one will be graduation of that bike event, and I do look forward to summer, because it is kind of a break. A lot of the kids leave town. We're still pretty busy, but it's nice to have that.
Right.
Ring the bell, coach. Give me a breather, because August hits, you hit the ground running, and it doesn't stop until May again.
Right. How much time you got left?
I got time. I'm here for you, pal.
Oh, okay, cool. That's how the rest of you guys should act when you come on the podcast. I'm here for you. No, I'm joking. It makes me feel nervous when people do that.
No, absolutely. I'm enjoying myself. Please carry on.
So, I want to ask you, what martial arts did you study?
Dainapan Shotokan Karate-Do was my first discipline. That's where I got my first black belt. And then when I got my studio, I got with some colleagues. I started dabbling in Muay Thai, Krav Maga, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo. That was about it. Kind of a petri dish of all. Shotokan's a very linear stand-up style, which you see in the movies. It's like all these, choreographed fights. It's like that. The real world, we don't fight like that. You're going to get tackled, and you're going to end up on the ground. Yeah. It's not that one kick to the dome. Mm-hmm. No, you're going to end up on the ground. So if you don't have a ground game, why you even practice at all? So that's why I got to the jiu-jitsu part of it, to kind of fill out my education, if you will.
Yeah. growing up, of course, Dragon Ball Z with the martial arts. But Bruce Lee,
Favorite Dragon Ball Z character?
my favorite is Broly.
Broly. I was always Gohan for some reason. I
Gohan.
always loved Gohan, but Broly's the man too. Anyway, carry on.
They did Gohan wrong, man. Now he's a teacher. Nothing against teacher, but he could be so much more.
Yeah, this whole Saiyaman thing. This wow.
Yeah, that hurt.
Oh, by the way, I'm doing my own sound effects. He's not editing these in.
Hey, he does a perfect slow mo. You should sell that. You should sell it to a producer.
That'll be our closing.
But no, my slow mo's terrible. But yeah, that's when I started studying martial arts, which is copying Bruce Lee or Enter the Dragon. That was it. That's all I know.
What's it, Wing Chun? That was his style he developed, I believe?
He mixed Wing Chun and Chinese boxing.
Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune
Yeah,
Do.
that's what he called it.
He
Yeah.
made Jeet Kune Do after he studied with Yip Man.
That was a bad motherfucker. He burned out too quick. He was, whew.
Yeah, him and his son.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is sad.
Brandon, yeah.
But now I've done a 180, and now I'm doing swords. So after bringing this up to you, have you thought about it? Are you going to go do some swords?
I believe is it Kempo, the one with like the wooden batons? I dabbled, I'm getting all these names confused. I dabbled on that for a little bit, but no, I'm so awkward. So my weapon in Shotokan, it's not really a weapon style. We added some weapons for tournaments so we could participate in those, those tournaments, like the weapons category. So my weapon of choice was the bow staff, and what I really got into was a cane, like rattan canes.
Yeah.
Because a cane doesn't look like a weapon. I can go to the airport with a cane, or you're walking down the road, but all of a sudden I know how to use it. There you go.
Yeah.
But with a sword, I dabbled in that, size and commas. We're fortunate that I did not kill myself. So that is not my forte. I know where to stop. I'm better with my feet and my hands and elbows and knees. But yeah, that's I just what is it? No, just lay it down and let's go toe to toe. But no, I encourage anybody to do. I've watched several videos. I've been to several tournaments, and I'm not really in that circle too much anymore. I still know all the people affiliated with it. I don't know if I'll ever teach again, just because it's been so long, and it'd be me getting back up to par would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Time I don't have. But no, I've witnessed people that are beautiful with all their weapons, all their blades, especially the sword, and or their sabers or whatever their choice is.
Saber, yeah.
And it's beautiful to watch. I just know that's not Silas Smith. I can try, but my time's better spent on something else, because I just know I'm not. They say practice makes perfect. Bullshit. Like I have no. There's just no natural talent there for me with a blade in my hand.
I can see you as a fencer, at the very least. You're kind of long.
Yeah, I've heard that before too. I don't know if that's. Again, it goes back to full circle here. It goes back to the learning curve on Fortnite. That I can put it down and be like, damn it, having a teacher again. It's like, well, why are you kicking my ass? Just let me get 1 point, just one.
He brought fencing around to Fortnite.
See, full circle here, people. Mark, do anything.
So, you probably saw. Do you watch MMA, UFC?
I used to when I was definitely when I was training and teaching. Yeah.
So
GSP was my man, George St.
Probably
Pierre.
watched it probably at the beginning with Horace Gracie, right?
Horace Gracie. I was even watching when Boss Rutan was still the badass. He still is a badass. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Horace Gracie.
So, for a martial artist, seeing the gigantic rise of BJJ, JJ grappling, why did you go to Japanese grappling instead?
Well, I started out because that was all that was offered around me. That was the only local discipline that I could study. And so I got, I started that, finished it. So that it was really just by practicality. There wasn't any place. I don't live in Richmond. I live in Jackson County. So even the commuting to Lexington back when I was training, I don't think there was too much there. Definitely not the resources that are in Lexington now to go to. Plus, that's a long commute just for the jiu-jitsu. But the person I bought my studio off of, he had some, and there are a lot of similarities except with Japanese jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu until it gets into the real BJJ. They know what's up, and I got tons of respect for that. Japanese jiu-jitsu was almost like the G-rated version of BJJ. It was good, but it starts up top. It almost incorporates a lot of judo and throws and locks.
Yeah.
And but then I met some people, and I had the experience to get into BJJ, and that was a quite literal game changer. So and I'm glad. I would implore everybody. Karate's cool. Karate's fun. It gets a bad rap in the movies. Sometimes a good rap in the movies. Like Cobra Kai is on right now. As a martial artist, I still watch it because it's entertaining. But watching the choreography on it, like these guys aren't really martial artists, or I get that from a lot of movies too. But it's almost cringy to watch a little bit. But karate's cool. Karate's effective. It's not just attack. It's it's defense. It's self-discipline. It's inner calm. It's peace. It's therapy. It's not just beating the shit out of some dude. It's way more than that. That's
right.
In fact, that's a byproduct of everything else that it is. But BJJ is a practical. I'm glad I learned it. That is street worthy. That is, you think like, oh, when am I using an armbar? You're probably not going to get anybody in an armbar on the street, but you're going to know how to tie them up around their neck and like to hold them down till the authorities get there or help gets to you, and you're in control. Your four limbs are now mine, sir, and your head. A lot of practicality too, and I implore everybody to learn a little bit of that. I used to do. I took a little bit of that. I used to do for the seniors. This is at Berea Community College. I got Yves Fontenez was the counselor, and he knew me. So the seniors, when they do their standardized testing, like the seniors are done. Like the juniors, freshmen, sophomore, like they got to do testing. So the seniors like do 1 day of testing, and then they got to occupy these seniors for like the next 4 days of school.
Right.
So I did a rape prevention and campus awareness seminar that I came up with, and I would do that for the seniors every year, and incorporated, especially for the girls, a little bit of that, like active guard. Like if you get on the ground, especially if something sinister, the hard R, is about to happen to you.
Right.
You can still be in control even if you're on your back. So I taught a lot of that. I implore every woman to reach out, even on YouTube. You can at least educate yourself and watch a little something. Even if you don't have, practice with your husband, practice with your friend, whatever. Like I saw this. Don't hurt yourself. I'm not saying do home dojos, but it's nice to educate yourself and be knowledgeable. And BJJ is the way to go. And that's my long-winded answer to a very short question.
Yeah. Talking to you, I just thought about it. There's a question I'm going to ask you after this, but I just thought about it. Karate's practical, right? And the martial art I'm about to go into, you can't just walk around with a sword on your hip. So I'm kind of exposed to someone that wants to fight me on the street. Instead of, I need to take karate too, unless I'm going to carry my sword around all the damn time.
Well, a sword, because in my experience, they don't teach you like with a live blade anyway. This isn't feudal Japan where you're slicing motherfuckers right and left. Yeah. You're using it as an object, as a deterrent, to parry, to get yourself to safety, to trip. And really, if you're looking around, you can look around this pub, and just on your way from here to the door, I'm sure you can find 10 things that would be a nice substitute for it. And the byproduct of martial arts, we're talking a lot about martial arts to be an Irish pub. This is not what I thought it was going to be. Anything about any martial arts is, like I said, the fighting and the prowess is a byproduct of everything else you learn. You're learning situational awareness. You're learning to feel the temperature of the room. You're learning to be aware of your surroundings. Like, naturally, this is. I'm glad I can see this store. Like, it's taught me, when I go to a restaurant or anywhere, I don't sit with my back to the door because I want to see what's going on. I want to know who's coming in. I want to know if they have a gun. I want to know how many of them. I want to know where the exits are. It's teaching you all these practical things that is just good for just walking down the street, just for your peace of mind. And that's why I feel very comfortable when I travel. Is I'm in different countries, different states all the time. I'm not putting myself in danger, but I know that I might get my ass kicked a little bit, but I'm going to get out of it, and I'm going to live, and I'm going to get away.
Speaking of Cobra Kai, that's the question I was going to ask. How do you feel about Steven Seagal? He's definitely gotten to some heat lately. Growing up, I was never really a Steven Seagal fan. I was more of a Hong Kong production type of guy with Donnie Yen, Jackie Chan. Jet Li was my favorite.
Jet Li's the man.
And Bruce Lee, of course. But how do you feel about Steven Seagal? Does he make you cringy?
His acting, not so much. Now, I've watched... See, it's hard to tell with some of these videos that were taken on VHS back in the 80s or 90s, whatever. I do think he's a little bit of a badass, but I think Hollywood's done a lot more for him than what he can do himself. Now, I've watched some him at tournaments before, just like judo flipping, people all right and left. But how much of that is actually am I doing this for a show? Am I helping the instructor? Am I helping Steven out by doing this? Look, but I think he knows his stuff. Just like Chuck Norris is a badass as well. Still is. Even though he's Hollywood's done their thing to him. But yeah, I don't know if I get in a ring with Steven Seagal. I give a chance. I go toe to toe with him for a minute. Yeah, see what happens. So
that means he'll win. That's humble answer to I'll win for sure.
But yeah, what else you got for me? We're talking so much about I feel like we need to say something obligatory about the pub or something. I don't know. Go back to video games.
Yeah, Chuck's going to be on you. It's like, you should have promoted it more. But, I did want to ask you, because I was until maybe 3 years ago an avid comic book reader. What's your favorite comic book? And who's your least favorite comic book character? For me, it's Captain America, and people absolutely hate that, but I don't like him.
Okay, we're going to be fighting outside later. Okay, all right. That's homeboy for we're fighting outside, yeah. No, I'm a big Marvel guy, and the movies, MCU got me into that pretty relatively recently. One of my treasured comics is Werewolf by Night 32, which is the first appearance of Moon Knight. And the staff, that was a Christmas gift from them one year. They always give me tremendous Christmas gifts every year. So that's probably my Daredevil, probably my favorite character. Least favorite, I'm not really a DC guy, so I won't talk too much shit about them. But, Superman, everybody loves him. That's kind of the same as Captain America. He's just, what can't you fucking do? Okay, cool. Why do I read it? You're going to win. I know you're going to win.
Yeah.
Like, why am I wasting my time reading this book? Give me a challenge or something. So, Moon Knight and Superman, respectively, for favorite and least favorite.
Yeah,
or Daredevil. I don't know.
Whenever I get my sword, we're going to fight because I love Superman.
All right, there we go. We agree to disagree. All right.
You ever read the Death of Superman?
I've got that book, actually. That's one of the few DC things I've read where it has Superboy and Steel and all that, and Doomsday, kills him and he comes back to life. I've actually read that in high school. I've still got the book on my shelf. I can see it. It's a black cover with yellow and red writing on it. Yep, I can still see it.
Man, it was the coolest in the 90s, man. They were killing all the superheroes. Mm-hmm. Batman, I think Batman got his back broken in the 90s.
Yeah, Bane.
Yeah, by Bane. Yeah, it was a lot of crazy stuff. But if there's something you want to tell me about the pub, go ahead, because I'm going to go ahead and end this podcast.
Oh, gotcha. I don't know what time it is, but this has been very enjoyable. I feel like we went over our hour or whatever, but that's been fine by me. Just click like, subscribe on YouTube. Give us a like, hit that little button. They'll just check out. Our social media guy is Scott Rogers, one of my best friends. He's our KM. He kind of handles all of our social media. He went to school he's a nurse now. His first degree was like creative design, marketing. So he handles all those wonderful and colorful flyers you see on our Instagram, on our Facebook. I don't know if we fuck with our Twitter anymore. I don't know. I should know that, shouldn't I? But all those things you see, just check those out because there's an event for you. We don't say you come to every event, that's enjoy yourself. You have lives out there. But if you see something that sounds interesting, you can bet that we are putting thought into it, and we're not doing it just to waste our breath. We're doing it because even if it sounds silly, we're still passionate about it. We're passionate about this prom. We ordered crowns for prom king and queen. Just it's fun. It's cool. Have a good time and be like, I won the pack. It's bragging rights. I'm the fucking king until next year. But anything we do, we put thought into, and we try to make it the best experience as we can for you, and as authentic as we can, and as memorable as we can. So all I can say, if my lasting remarks here, just keep an eye. Add us on Facebook, add us on Instagram, because that's where we get all of our events and ideas out to you, and we do a lot of. Hey, post your favorite memory from last St. Patrick's Day for a chance to win gift cards, or your favorite picture of you and your best friend on Best Friends Day, of you and your best friend at the pub. Post it to our Facebook for a chance to win gift card, and it just helps us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, who we want to see more, and because we don't. We do this a lot for the people and for the nature. If we didn't like working with the public and the people and just all the who's and what's that brings with it, as I roll my eyes, then we wouldn't do it. The money's not that good. Bartending, it's all right, but it's not that good to put it with some of the shit we deal with. So. Right. But anyway, I will leave it at that, and there we go.
Hey, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, that's service industry in general, man.
Did you get the sound check? Did you save that one from earlier? Do I need to do it again?
Do you want it?
You can send it to me. I think I don't put that on the blooper reel or open up with that. I think that'll definitely get their attention. Like, what is this going to say? Like, especially the people that know me. I play music from time to time. My guitar's right there, but since I work at this place and I'm very comfortable here, when I get on stage to play music and I get the mic, I'm just saying stupid shit. I'm like I'll just cuss at people. I'm like, you start getting excited, motherfuckers! Come on! Like, what the hell is this? Like, and I'll check with like syphilis, gonorrhea, gonorrhea, herpes. Like, that's how I do the mic check. So people have seen that, they're like, what the hell is Silas going to say now? Oh, goodness. But, all right, we'll go from there. This has been my genuine pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. All right, bye, Internet world.
This is definitely